Hello and welcome to this video tutorial. In this one we're going to be installing a Linux Centos 6.3 desktop installation using a VirtualBox. In the previous video I did the same installation, but this was with a minimal server and also with only 512 megabytes worth of RAM. It was just basically there to show that you can install a basic web server with using absolute minimal RAM, because you might not have the overhead of lots of RAM on your computer. Therefore, you've only got to make do with 512 megabytes just to show you that you can do it. But in this one we're going to use a little bit more RAM, but not a great deal, just enough to be able to install the desktop version and for it to function okay. So I've got VirtualBox Manager open, and I've also downloaded the Centos 6.3 DVD1 ISO. Now I showed in the previous tutorial where you can find that, and if I just show you once again, so if you come to Google and then just CentOS download, then you can just come to the main CentOS webpage, which is centos.org, come to the downloads and then mirrors, and then under the CentOS public mirror list just click on that. And I just use the Stanford University one because, well, I know it's it's a good university and so on, so they're probably going to have a good upload rate and download rate and so on. So just go to HTTP, scroll down and come to 6.3, which is the newest version. I mean, you don't have to use 6.3, but it's the latest version, so why not? Okay, so then with inside of here we're going to go to the ISOs folder. Okay, then we're going to go to the i386 folder. And then what we want to download is this CentOS 6.3 i386 bin DVD1.iso. It's 3.5 gigabytes in size. These live DVDs, if you watch the other video tutorial, this is a complete installation already done, and it just basically copies the ISO to your hard drive as a pre-configured installed operating system, whereas this DVD1 is just basically the ISO, and it's going to do the full installation and give you all of the choices which you require. Okay, so that's the one which you download. I've already downloaded it, so we don't need to do this any further. So I've got it as the ISO on my desktop. Okay, so let's do new, and we'll do this David desktop. Okay, and just put it as Linux, and then put it as Red Hat. Okay, and then just press next. And this one we're going to give 1024 megabytes worth of RAM. It'll be enough. I mean, I'm not going to use this one desktop for anything more than this video tutorial, but otherwise I'd probably boost it up to say 2 gigabytes, which will be really quite sufficient for the task which you need to do on it. Okay, so let's press next. Now we're going to create a virtual hard drive now, and then just press create. Okay, I'm going to change it to the virtual hard disk here, and then press next. Going to be dynamically allocated, so it basically means that it'll make the file the hard drive, but it won't use up the full 20-30 gigabytes, whatever that you allocate to it. It'll only allocate the amount of space that it uses if and when it does use it. So if you've the installation takes 4 gigabytes, then it will just use up 4 gigabytes of your hard drive. It won't take up the full space. Fixed size would be that if you gave it an allocation of 50 gigabytes, then it would take up 50 gigabytes worth of space in memory, which I don't think that's really a particularly good idea if you're not going to use it. Okay, so we're just going to save it, and it's going to my virtual machines anyway, so it's fine. A folder's going to be created, so just click cancel, and I'm just going to give it 20 gigabytes, and we're not going to use 20 gigabytes on it, so it really just doesn't matter. Okay, and then we press create. Okay, that's now done. A couple more things which we need to do, which would be come under the settings. So we need to highlight the David desktop one, or whatever one you've named it. Click on the settings, and what we need to do first of all is come to the system, and then click this network, so we've got network capability on it, and processor I'm going to leave it at 1, and the acceleration and so on, everything I'm going to leave the way it is. Display I'm going to leave exactly the same way it is as well. Storage, we've got our virtual hard drive on here already. Okay, but what we do need to do is we need to add a CD for us to install. Well, we're going to then use this CentOS DVD ISO that we've downloaded prior to starting the VirtualBox. Okay, so we're just going to come under this this one here and just choose this DVD1 which I've got here. Okay, and we don't need to put live CD or DVD because it's not. Okay. Audio we don't need to touch, play with. Network we do. We need to basically, under the adapter 1, change this then to bridged adapter, and I've only got one network interface card, therefore it's only showing up with one here. Under the advanced tab, under the adapter type, I found that you've got to change this to the MT server, but I think this is just relevant to the hardware or the motherboard which I've got, and so on. But I found in the past just trying these different ones to see which ones works. I mean, it won't boot the machine basically, but so if you do get a problem, then come to the adapter type and just change it here. What the reason is, I don't know. I'm not really that interested in searching for it, just as long as it works. Okay, USB serial ports and share folders we're not going to do for now, but that will be everything perfectly fine. So click OK, and now all we've got to do is start the machine. Okay, so let's go ahead and start the machine. It's just going to run a little bit. Okay, and then we get this screen here, so let's put this in full screen mode. Okay, that's fine. Okay, it's not going to go any bigger than that. Okay, so we're just going to do go on install or upgrade an existing system, and it's going to skip through a whole bunch of things, and I might as well just come out of this. There we go. Okay, so it's going to do a few things. I mean, it doesn't take too long. To be honest with you, this beginning bit, okay, like I said, it doesn't take too long. It's then going to check the media. You don't need to do this. Just use your right arrow key and then just go on to skip and then just press enter. Then it does a couple of other things. Found local installation media. And once again, doesn't take too long before the actual graphical user interface starts, and you can proceed with the installation. So there we go, the screen gets a little bit bigger this time, and as you may notice in this video, now we're actually going to get the graphical user interface, whereas the other one we kind of got the blue background and stuff. So all we got to do now is just press next on here. Okay, and once you click inside of the VirtualBox, you lose, or you then gain your mouse, and to get out you press the right hand side control key, and then that releases your mouse from the VirtualBox. So just click on next. Okay, now we want to choose which language. I'm going to keep it on English, and next, and then the keyboard, I'm going to move it up to German because I've got a German keyboard. I'm not German, by the way, I am English, I'm British, so I just live in Germany. Okay, then click next. Okay, we're going to keep it as basic storage devices, and click next. That's going to examine a few things, and because this is a virtual hard disk, we don't need to worry about formatting and partitions and stuff like that, so we can just discard any data. Okay, we're going to name this David Desktop as the host name, and we're not going to configure the network here. Okay, we're going to do it actually when we're on the machine. So David Desktop, yeah. Okay, then I'm going to change this then to the country where we're at. Whoops. I mean, you can click on there, but I'm just kind of in a habit of doing it this way, you know, because I use the keyboard most of the time. So, and it's not, doesn't take that long. Okay, so I'm going to put it to Europe, Berlin, and then just whoops, going to click next. Okay, password. So this will be the root password which you will use to initially log in, although in the beginning on the desktop version it's going to ask for your username and for your name and stuff, but when you need to log in as root, then this will be the root password as it states there. Okay, so just click next. Okay, in this we're going to just go to use all space. I'd just like to be able to review a few things, so we're going to review and modify partitioning layout. I mean, we're not going to touch anything, but we're just going to do that for the sake of it. Okay, so now it shows you all the different partitions and volume groups which you have. We're going to leave it just the way it is. Okay, we're not going to mess around with that now. Okay, so just click next. Okay, it's going to get rid of the partitioning table. You can just click format, it's fine. Okay, and then write changes to disk. Okay, this could take well, it doesn't take very long because it's a virtual machine, but if you do format a hard drive using this and it's got data on it, it can take a few minutes, up to 10-20 minutes or whatever. I did a 2 terabyte hard disk the other day, and it had a whole bunch of stuff on it. Yeah, it took around about 20 minutes to do. Okay, the bootloader you can leave just the same. If you want to add a password to it, then do it now, but otherwise just leave the settings just the way they are. If you've added 2 hard drives on there, my mouse is being a bit of a nightmare. If you've got 2 hard drives on there, then you would need to select which one is on there. Okay, just press next. Okay, this is where the installation is actually going to nearly begin. So we're going to choose desktop for this one. Okay, we could choose minimal desktop, but then you lack a lot of things. Now I know that you might want to install a desktop with next to nothing on it, but to be quite honest with you, you lose a lot of things which you're just going to install anyway. So the desktop one is kind of, this desktop one we've got highlighted is really very basic anyway, but just gives you a few nice things which you need. But otherwise, minimal desktop, I mean, you just pretty much just going to get the desktop environment. That's it. Any other software and stuff that you want to install, you can start changing it here, but I don't want to. I just want to do it manually. I like doing stuff manually. Okay, now the installation begins. Okay, obviously it won't go out on the internet as of yet because we didn't give it a network card, but although it's going to begin with installing everything. Okay, this is going to take, I don't know, 5-6 minutes to do. It will go through, I think, like 680 packages or something that it's got to install. So it won't, I'm not going to leave the video on because it's going to take too long, but I'll just put it on pause whilst it goes along and come back every now and again. Okay, let's just wait till, so we've got 1078. I mean, it's going to run through pretty quickly because it's working on the virtual hard drive. Regardless, we're not going to sit there and watch this number go up. Okay, so see you in a second. If I can get my mouse up to this pause button. Okay, so it's coming towards the end now. Not far to go. I mean, it's taken maybe 10 minutes. To be honest with you, I paused the installation, had dinner and came back again and sat here for, I don't know, 5 minutes waiting for it to finish. But I mean, it's a full working desktop environment, so it's going to take some time. It's installing Thunderbird, it's installing LibreOffice, it's got doing then all of the different various things which are needed. So, you know, it can take some time. But once it gets to the end, it's then going to go into the phase to reboot, and then it will be done. And basically, once it is installed, if this is the first time you're ever doing it, then first of all, you know, welcome to the Linux CentOS 6 experience. I personally favour CentOS over the likes of Ubuntu and so on. I do like Linux Mint 14. Although I much preferably use the Red Hat distributions because I just like the file structure and the folder structure a little bit better, and also the terminal commands. I just like that a little bit more. Therefore, I kind of stick towards the CentOS more than I do with the Linux Mint. But Linux Mint is kind of, you know, an out of the box operating system which you just plug it in and it works, which is really, really good. So you know, it's good to use. Okay, so we're creeping towards the end. I'm just going to pause it again just till it's actually showing the reboot screen. Okay, so it's nearly there now. The last final stages of the installation, and then we're ready to go. Okay, it wouldn't be right of me to end this video here. I mean, at least you want to be able to see how you can then get it on the internet and stuff like that. So I'm going to get it to the point where you can actually browse the internet and stuff, and naturally go through your setting up your user profile as well, which will come up in a second. I mean, obviously you can see in the background this is what the desktop operating system looks like once it's installed, so that's what you're expecting to see. And it's all the thing is, what I like about CentOS so much as well is it's tidy. You know, it couldn't get much more logical. You know, as much as I also like Windows 7 as well, because that's kind of very tidy and very logical. It's something about Linux which just gives it that extra touch, and you know, it's just so well organized, and the only thing you've got to do is you've got to adapt yourself a little bit to learn about Linux and to use Linux. And once you allow yourself to adapt to Linux, then you work out, wait a minute, there's an Office processing application, you can get email, you can still get on the internet just the same way, you can watch videos on YouTube, you can go onto Facebook, you can still go on Skype. Skype works relatively simple. I mean, it takes, with Linux Mint, Skype is a lot easier to install because it's pretty much just to download and install there from through the software package manager. But with CentOS, it's not that difficult. I mean, considering CentOS is supposed to be, you know, it's an enterprise operating system. It's supposed to be for businesses, and they're really using it as servers and so on. Whereas Linux Mint is more for the personal computer type scenario. So you can kind of appreciate that the companies are more making the home user type stuff for Linux Mint and Ubuntu and stuff, and the CentOS operating systems, you know, they're using it for work related topics and for applications. So you've got to appreciate it a little bit. Okay, so come on, nearly there. Okay, so it's now going through the final stages of installing the bootloader, and then we should be off. And I'll tell you what, you don't want to do this 5 times a day. My advice is, if you're going to make a virtual machine, okay, there we go. Yeah, so my advice, if you're going to make a virtual machine, then take a snapshot once it's installed. Then you don't have to do it again. So all you got to do is click the reboot button. Okay, obviously put your mouse inside of it and reboot. This won't take too long, and then we'll go through setting up the user profile. So it will flick between the different screens. Okay, now it's starting, so we're just going to let it count down and start. Okay, and here we go, and wait for the blue bar to proceed to get to the end. Okay, so it now should be ready to launch into the desktop environment in just a second. And just another second. Okay, here it goes. Okay, so now it's launching. Let's try and push this into full screen mode. Okay, so this is then just like the setting up your user profile. So just click forward. Okay, yes, I agree to the license agreement. And then the username, just going to place it as David. And then once again, in this one, David Thorne. Password. And put a password in. Okay, we're not going to use network login or any advanced features. We're just going to simply continue on. Set the time. So what we got? 21:38 or 21:38. And we got 27th is correct, 2013 February, everything is correct. So let's forward. Okay, don't worry about this, you just press next or finish, it's all fine. Okay, then it does another reboot and a bit of a shuffle, so I'm just gonna, is this gonna go straight away? Should do, here it is, yep. Okay, so now we get the welcome screen. Just press enter, put in your password to log in, press enter once again, and we'll just take a second till you get to your main desktop environment. see whether we can actually get this to go full proper screen. No, okay. Alright, so what we need to do now is to configure our network. Now we can come up here and click on this and to connect here, but I mean that would be no fun. So let's do it via the terminal, okay? I mean potentially would just be a sake of clicking on system ETH0 and it would be done. Okay, but let's do it the difficult way, shall we? So let's come to terminal, and what we need to do is then move to root. Okay, now we have root. Let's just clear this out, and what we're going to edit then, what we're going to edit and we're going to open up is the vi etc sysconfig network scripts ifcfg -eth0. Okay, this is, I know this is the Ethernet card which I've got, so we're just going to open it up with this one. Okay, and as you can see here, the device name is ETH0 and the boot proto is DHCP. That's the way I'm going to do it. So it's going to be allocated by the router, the DHCP server, and IP address. That's the hardware address of the actual network interface card. Network manager controlled. I'm going to say no. That's potentially, whoops. Press I for inserts. Okay, no, that's potentially this is up here. This is the network manager. Okay, so we're telling that, hey, you're not permitted to do anything with us. On boot, we're going to say that we want it to this network interface card to launch when the system boots. Okay, and that's basically it. So we're just going to ask for it to give us an IP address ourselves. Okay, we don't want any static IP address. Okay, then we're going to say, well, we can check here to see which interface cards are up, and you can just see the loopback address is here. So let's say ETH up, ETH0. Okay, it's going to get an IP address. Won't take too long. Okay, and that should be done now. So now we can come here and see what IP address. So we've got 10.10.10.30, and let's ping the gateway. Whoops, that wouldn't be the gateway. Okay, so we've got the gateway, and now let's ping Google. And I said in the last video that it would be unfair for me to ping Google and not YouTube, and then not Facebook. Okay. Okay, so that's that bit done. We can close this down now. What you might want to do at this one point is to give yourself sudo permissions. Well, that is something which you want to do. Rather than having to type in sudo every single time, you can then just use the sudo command. Alright, but then you wouldn't be able to use that unless you're actually within inside of the sudo file. So you're just going to say vsudo, okay, and open this up. That's going to take you down to this file. And what you want to do is just go down to the bottom, okay, where it says here root all equals all, and then just basically within inside of this then put your username which you put in, and then just basically copy everything like this as it is. Okay, and now we can go back to David once again, and we can just say, for example, sudo yum update, okay, and it will ask us for our password. Means now we can use the sudo command. If we hadn't have put our username within inside of that that field, or within inside of that file, then we wouldn't be able to use the sudo command. Okay, but you have to use vi sudo in order to edit that file. Okay, and you have to be as root to edit it. So you can't do anything else. Now what I just did was to do the yum update. It is advisable once you install the operating system that you do the update. So then you've got all the most up-to-date kernel and all devices and drivers and stuff like that. So we're just going to say yes anyway, and we're going to leave it as that, because that's going to take a whole bunch of time, 150 updates. Okay, so I'm going to leave the tutorial here, and we can do the next steps or anything else that I decide to do for the next video tutorial. Okay, thank you very much for watching. My name's David Thorne. If you're watching on YouTube, then please subscribe. If you're on Facebook, then pop over to my YouTube channel. If you found me anywhere else, please comment. Let me know any feedback, what you thought. Did you get anything out of this? Do you like CentOS? Is there any other operating systems which you'd like to use? And so on. Is there any other videos which you'd like to see? Okay, I am absolutely by no means a Linux expert guru, but I know enough to get myself by. And I want to pass the information on. Because I'm really moving towards how to set up web servers and to put your websites on Linux servers. So basically the web development side of it can then work with the server side of it, because they both go hand in hand, so they're both as important as each other. Okay, that's it then. Thanks very much for watching, and I wish you a nice evening. Goodbye.